Peace and blessings, abundant souls. Thank you so much for tuning into the Abundantly Ever After show. I'm your host, Giovanna Tisdale, known as the Spiritual Love Healer. And today, as I'm recording this episode, there is a beautiful full moon in Pisces, and I am just luxuriating in this energy. Had the ability to really take it slow this morning, so I definitely slept in. I did a lot of journaling, dreaming, and then I got into some of my rituals. So I won't go into too much detail on like what the ritual entailed or anything, but maybe I can talk about that at a later date and time. What I did decide for this particular time period, there was a lot of things that I wanted to release. And I realized that I had really been hard on myself lately, feeling like, I wasn't in alignment with like my beliefs. I wasn't practicing the things that I preach and teach. And so I had this moment where, I did this releasing ritual and just released all of these energies and just cleared things out. And I'm still not done. There's still some things that I need to do to like bring this into completion. But what I realized is that this entire time I have been actively doing the work. However, I was like allowing myself to experience it. So when I initially like started my first blog or whatever, it was called Positive Forward Movement. Positive Forward Movement was a mantra that I came up with. I actually heard it from someone who was like a mentor, a sister, and a mother to me. She was saying how, you need to, she's speaking about someone else, but saying like you need to demonstrate, that you're taking positive actions and moving forward. And I was like, positive forward movement. And it just hit me. And so I adopted that as my mantra, and it carried me for years through so many things. So when I, decided to like make my blog a thing, that was the name of it. It started out as Positive Forward Movement. Then it evolved into the Spiritual Love Healer, the Spiritual Love Coach, and from there, the Spiritual Love Sanctuary. So I went from a place of positive forward movement to focusing on spiritual love. Spiritual love not only encompasses like relationship or romantic, but it also is a more so of a focus on love of self. It's a deeper sense of love in general. It's a deeper sense of self-love. It's a deeper sense of love and connection with other beings and other things, which is something that I talked about as well, which kind of led me to like bringing abundance and manifesting in, is because we have a relationship with so many different things. We have a relationship with our car. We have a relationship with money. We have a relationship with our careers, the work that we do, with our colleagues. We have a relationship with the home that we live in. So there's so many different ways that we relate in this world. And so I wanted to really expand that, because often when we hear the term relationship, we're only thinking of it as like boyfriend, girlfriend. We don't think about the mother child relationship or the sibling relationship or the colleague relationship. We are in relationship with everything around us. And when we're thinking on like more meta, more higher level terms, like it's easy to see, but when we're down in the, the more like microscopic or the day to day of it, we have a very limited scope. And one of the beautiful things about myself, about my work, is that I get to like see the high level, the more cosmic overlook of everything, and then I can bring it back down into the more granular, specific pinpoint how that principle applies to your life. And it's a beautiful gift, but one I have to be careful with, because I can be so what is the word? It's not coming to me, but I guess generalize things. But I want to get better at like honing in on a specific thing so that it applies in a very specific way. So that's something that I am going to continue to hone and work on. And it's funny because really going through Devoted Energy Coaching School this year with Sora Schilling has been a beautiful, beautiful, not only healing practice, but it helped me to really explore and anchor into my medicine or my gifts, as well as it allowed me to just deepen my skills. And it was such a beautiful practice. I learned so much about myself, about the work that I want to do. And that's kind of ultimately what led me into kind of creating a more beautiful, like holistic way of sharing my work through Abundantly Ever After. So that was really beautiful. But back to what I was initially talking about. So I had these three things that kind of blended and merged, and I'm seeing how each process stair-stepped me to where I needed to be. During the positive forward movement stage, I was really coming out of dealing with being in an abusive relationship, dealing with depression and anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, really just trying to put myself back on the track, right? Trying to get myself realigned, trying to find, what was I moving forward towards in life? What was going to be the outcome? So that was really where I focused more on getting my mind right. And then there came along the time point when I'm like, okay, digging into relationships and love and self-love and all of these things, because now I have the right mindset, the right focus. So now I can weave that piece in. I can come back around. There's of course a lot of healing involved in both of these aspects. A lot of us do have a lot of trauma around relationships, whether it's stuff from family, from childhood, from friendships, from, dating or whatever. There's a lot of trauma around that. Our interactions with people can be harmful, and sometimes just the way that we think and see ourselves can be, traumatic in its own. So there's always a healing aspect to anything that I do. I am just a natural healer, so that's always going to be an aspect, an element of my work. And so then, right, so now our heart and our mind is in alignment, and now we're focusing on manifesting what it is that we want. So as I've gone through these different journeys or initiations in my life, like the past couple of years, I was like really, really hard on myself. Even within like my work, how I was like showing up, I wasn't really sure what I was doing. And so that's part of the reason why I just shifted a lot of things and pressed pause and then finally just hit stop on a lot of things, because I needed to recalibrate. And that allowed me to lead up to this moment where I'm like, Giovanna, like, girl, like this whole time you have been doing what it is that you needed to do, but you just could not see it because you were in it. And sometimes it's hard because people around you feel like, you're supposed to be here, or it should look like this, or, you're just taking in a lot of advice. And I talked about this where I was like, sometimes you have to silence the noise. You can have some very good, well-meaning people, mentors, friends, family members, whoever, that are like, oh, well, you need to do this and you need to do that, or well, you shouldn't do it like this, or maybe you should try this way. And you forget what the hell your spirit, right? What the divine mother, what source has planted within you to do. You forgot the plans that you laid out in the hundreds of notebooks that you have sitting on your shelf because you got so wrapped up in what other people said. And so when you're able to clear and cleanse and release all of that stuff, when you're able to get quiet, to go back into the lab, to go back into your notebooks and look at your process, look at your journey. This is why I am a huge proponent of journaling. I keep most of my journals because I can go back and look at the journey. I can go back and reread things from the times where I was dealing with major depressive episodes, from the times where I didn't think I was going to see tomorrow, from the times when I didn't think that my life could get any better. And I look back and I'm like, look at how much better my life has become. Look how much I have grown. Look how much I have improved. Look how much I have healed. Like, I've gone from being super depressed and crying every day to always having a smile on my face, to looking back at those times and saying, like, I was really going through it, but I'm grateful I allowed myself to go through it to get to the other side of this, because had I not, I might not be here. a lot of people don't make it to the other side of depression because it's such a dark beast. Like, oh my goodness, it is such a heavy, heavy energy and time and experience to navigate. And for someone like me who had to go through it essentially alone, because at that time, mental health was not being talked about. If you were going to a therapist, that was heavily frowned upon. You were crazy, you were stupid, you ruined your future. Like, y'all, me being here today is for real a blessing. And that's why, like, I don't take anything for granted. Even though when I do, I do have bad days and bad times, like I don't allow myself to stay in it because I know that there's always something better and brighter on the other side of that. And a lot of times people are like, oh, that's toxic positivity and you're bypassing and blah, 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 blah. I do believe that there are times when people bypass emotions or they don't deal with their shit. However, from someone who has dealt with clinical major depressive disorder, telling people to be not to be happy or that being happy is toxic is so fucking damaging and detrimental. And that's why I will never get on the bandwagon of self-love being toxic, of positivity being toxic. Like, how the hell can more positivity and self-love become toxic? Self-love becomes toxic when you're not allowing yourself to love others, or when you're loving from a place of I'm better than you. That's toxic. That's also not self-love. That's a completely different thing. So it's like we're taking these, and that, you know what, that's a whole nother conversation, but we're taking these beautiful and pure energies and intentions and dirtying them up for no reason, right? So if you see like a house is on fire and you're like, oh, well, that's not my business. I'm having a happy day. I'm not going to let somebody else's house fire dampen my spirits. That's toxic, but that's also not positivity. That's like turning a blind eye to a tragedy. Like, you can at least call the fire department, right? So it's completely different things when you really think about what people are saying about toxic positivity and toxic self-love and all that. Like, everything now is just toxic. And I'm kind of sick of that word. There's lots of words that I'm sick of. And I think I might do like a rant episode to just talk about terms that I'm so tired of hearing because they've been used so much that they no longer have a meaning. Like the word toxic, we throw toxic in front of everything. Toxic people, toxic relationships, toxic, 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 toxic. And it's like, what does that even mean anymore? So I know I am all over the place, but I love it because I was sitting and I was just inspired and really feeling just the energy and the flow. And of course, because of the energies, right, we got a moon that is in Pisces. Neptune is doing some things too. So there's just a lot of flowy, imaginative energy. So that is where the energy of this podcast is coming from. Oh, okay. So while it's on my mind, let me share a couple of updates and announcements. So I'm going to start doing a live Abundantly Ever After show episode. And it's so fitting because initially Abundantly Ever After was just going to be a live that I did on my personal Instagram, which is the Spiritual Love Healer. And then I was like, no, like Abundantly Ever After is a thread that ties together all the work that I do, the work from healing single mothers, from positive forward movement, from a spiritual love sanctuary. All of these different elements all come together under Living Abundantly Ever After because that was always my goal. My goal was always to help people heal their hearts, heal their minds so that they can go out and live the life that they want to live. Not walking on eggshells, not living in the shadows, not hiding, not being afraid to be who they are, but deciding I want to achieve X, Y, and Z and going out and doing it. And I know that it's possible because all the shit that I've said I wanted to go out and achieve, I have done it, or I am doing it, or it is on my list to be accomplished. I have not given up on my goals, and I cannot wait to get my belongings out of storage because I want to show you the vision board that I created, where on it I had printed off and made like a little small version of a massage license, and I wrote my name on it. And I am almost finished with massage training to become a licensed massage therapist. This was something that I really wanted to add on to my business, Spiritual Love Sanctuary, because I believe in the power of touch. Massage is beneficial for our physical bodies, but it's also beneficial for our energetic and emotional bodies because our bodies store trauma. And as a Reiki therapist, a lot of the women that I were coming to, a lot of them had trauma, especially around the womb area. And like I could feel the tension, and so Reiki of course does help with that, but I wanted to really add in that beautiful touch. Initially, when I went to college, I wanted to become an athletic trainer and move into being a sports physician, so lots of kinesiology. So like I'm excited because I get to do all of this. I can still work with athletes. I can still work with women and single mothers and other people who really want to experience mind, body, soul level holistic healing. All of my dreams are coming super true. And that's like, it's changing the trajectory of my life, for myself, for my children, and I get to live my legacy, not just have something to leave for my children and their children and so on and so forth. So I also want to create shortcuts, right? Because it did take me a lot of time, trial and error. Like I did a lot of this stuff on my own. When I was able to, I did invest in coaches and healers, and I've gone to therapy. I love therapy. I'm a huge proponent of therapy, but I largely learned the skills that I learned to help myself. And in doing so, even when I first started my first blog, I forget what the name of it was. I want to say it was like the Life and Times of something, or maybe it was like Miss J. Christina. I forget. I don't know. But the reason why I created my blog, and this was before blogging was a thing, this was, I want to say in 1999 was when I built my first website with HTML coding on like Microsoft. It wasn't called Access. I forgot what it was, but it allowed you to like use code to build websites. And so it was a place for me to like dump out the things that I was experiencing. But what I realized is as I wrote, I wasn't just dumping, I was like inspiring myself. So instead of talking about necessarily the problem, although like I might highlight what I was going through, it was more of like inspiration, motivation, and healing. So I was like, wow, there's something within me that's here to help, to inspire, and to heal. I didn't know where it was coming from at first because when I sat down, I was sitting down with issues and problems. So when I started writing, solutions and inspiration and motivation was coming out. So I knew that this was part of my work. I knew that I had a message to share very early on in life. Early on in life, I knew that I was a healer. I knew that I was intuitive. I just did not know how to use my voice. I didn't have the skills or the support to know how to cultivate that in myself at an early age. So naturally, when I found that I, was going through things in life, when I needed support, when I needed an outlet, writing and creating or sharing healing and inspiration became my thing. And it's something that has always sat with me. Even now, like I'm working on some books. So I mentioned Healing Single Mothers. That actually started from, it kind of became its own thing. I really wanted to like carve out a space just for single moms because I think that's super, super important because there are a lot of spaces that are not inclusive for single mothers. There's a lot of judgment, guilt, shame, and a lot of bullshit flung our way, which is completely unnecessary. But because I didn't want to have multiple websites, I decided to merge everything into one. So even on the abundantly-ever-after.show site, there is a section where I'll have specific content just for single mothers. Inside of the community that I've created, which you can absolutely join, which is going to be amazing. You can go to collective.abundantlyeverafter.show. It's a free community. You can sign up, join. That's where I'm going to be spending the majority of my time posting because social media ain't that social these days. But there, inside there too, there's a space just for single moms because I always want to carve out that space because that is a part of like who I am. As I am a mother, I'm raising my children alone. And I think we always need to have a safe space for women who are on that journey because life is different for us. So I wanted to just have that there for communal support. I will be, like I said, I'm writing some books based on my experience as a single mother. Also have a couple other projects coming where I'm talking about just traumatic experiences and ways to heal our womb, our sacral center, and things like that. So I have a bunch of things that I'm working on. And it's really amazing because had all of the confusion, the back and forth, and the ups and downs over the past, I'll say like 2 to 3 years had not happened, I don't think I would have the clarity that I have now. And stepping away also allowed me to really go full throttle with my massage practice. It's helped me to recreate a new business plan and business model, as well as different ways to bring in income. I am truly living abundantly ever after. I'm not fully where I want to be, but I'm super grateful for the foundational pieces that I am setting up. So when I do press go, like I'm launching full throttle, and I want to be able to take other people with me because we do not have to settle and you do not have to struggle in love, in life, in money, in anything. There's truly a beautiful, abundant world out there. And I think one of the things too that sets me slightly apart is that yes, I'm very spiritual. I'm very much about that energetic aspect of things. I also come at things from I'll say world perspective. So when I'm talking about manifesting, when I'm talking about healing, I'm going to talk about it from a perspective that you can understand on your everyday day to day versus talking about it from a higher spiritual perspective that may seem a little too out there for people. So there probably will be, of course, some times when I do speak on things from a high level perspective. Oftentimes I will come on and do readings and things like that. But yeah, I'm just so grateful for this realization and acknowledgement. And I wanted to share this with you because right now you are probably going through something. And you may not realize that while you're in the thick of it, you're also making things happen. You're also moving forward because we can be so blinded by what we're experiencing presently. But then when it's over and you look back and you're like, well, shit, like I made it out of here. Like, why was I tripping? And it's because you sometimes cannot see your greatness. And this is another reason why I'm all about community. I'm all about having sacred spaces. I'm all about having people around you who can reflect your greatness back to you. Because think about it like this. If everyone around you thinks of you as a screw up or someone who should have done something different with their life or someone who's not living up to their standards or someone who should have X, Y, and Z, they're not going to see the you that you're becoming. They're not going to be able to highlight the good points like, okay, well, yeah, maybe you don't have an awesome career right now, but you've got a really good heart. You've got a really good head when it comes to like business stuff, or you've got a really good head when it comes to taking care of family, or you're really good at, I don't know, being creative. You're like really great with your hands. So they're not going to acknowledge the aspects of you that they don't want to acknowledge because in their eyes, you're not who you're supposed to be. Meanwhile, you have a vision of who it is that you want to be, and no one's asked you, well, I see you're not doing this. I see you don't have a house. I don't see you're not working a full-time job. What's your plan? Like, what do you see for yourself? No one ever asks you that. They just tell you you're not shit and that you're not doing the things that you should be doing because that's what they did or that's what they think you should do. And so that's why I'm all about having community, because you have people who can be like, yes, I see you. I see what you're doing. Congratulations on that win. I'm so proud of you for speaking up. Good for you for focusing on your goals and dreams. Good for you for taking a step back or taking less hours at work or taking less clients or closing down your business to go back to school so that you can do something better, do something different. People don't do that. They just like to talk shit and try to force you into these little boxes. Well, you need people around you who can say, burn that box to the ground and build yourself something magnificent, right? You need people who can see you for who you are, not for who you were when you were like 8 years old, and no one wants to let you live down the shit that you did in your past 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 plus years ago, right? So that is what Living Abundantly Ever is all about. It's about creating space for you to truly heal your heart. It's about creating space for you to expand your vision, for you to open your mind about what's possible for you to receive, for you to start believing that you are worthy and deserving of more, for you to learn how to start receiving more. And then for you to go on and live the life that you want. So that's what it's about. That's why I'm doing this. That's why this is here. I really love that for me. This is a passion project. That's what I wanted my blogs to be to begin with. And then I kind of got pulled into the monetization world. And like, I don't really want that for this space. Yes, I will have a couple offerings through Living Abundantly Ever After, but that's about it. I have a separate business that I am going to be reopening, relaunching. It's not going to be something that I do a lot of online, maybe outside of some coaching stuff. And maybe I'll open up some coaching spaces for people who maybe do want my support in that way as well, because I really do love that. I want to call in the abundant souls who are ready to wake up and tap into their abundance codes, who are ready to tap into abundance, who are ready to step into being healed, who are ready to elevate and expand and do all of these amazing, beautiful things that I know that we are all capable of. So if that is you, tap in, go ahead and join me in the community. It is brand new. Like I said, it's where I'm going to be sharing. I already have a poll created for you to vote on the tribe reading that I'll do in the group. So the beautiful thing about being part of this community is that you get access to content that I'm not posting on social media, like these readings that I'll be doing specifically for the community. So you can vote on whether you want it to be focused on love or personal or spiritual growth, if you want it to be focused on abundance or money. So I'll do monthly readings just for the community members. So it'll be a collective where I'll tune into the energy of the group and share what message the card has. I'll also be opening up some challenges or journeys to do things together that will change your life. So you can participate. There'll be like challenges like goal setting, so you can learn how to set goals if that's not something that you're familiar with. I'll also be doing like live Q&A sessions. We'll have events. We'll be doing a book club, and start adding in some bonus master classes. Some of these are things that I have taught in the past before, but I'm just going to post them in there. And if I do any new master classes, they will be in the group. Another amazing thing is that if there's something that you want or need, you can ask me. And if it's something that the group can benefit from, then I will create resources around that. So it is truly a sacred space for you. You can learn more on my website, abundantlyeverafter.show. Just click the tab that says community, and it tells you all about, what the community is and how you can become part of the Abundant Soul Tribe. I am so, so grateful for you. A couple of things that I'm going to be working on is creating like an intro and outro to the podcast just to jazz it up a little bit. Starting to pull together events, putting together the book club schedule for the community, and just really making this Abundantly After Abundantly Ever After like the home base for all the things that I have done. So tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell all the people that if they want to like really experience elevation, if they're tired of the struggle, if they want a place that's really for them, focused on healing, doing the things in the day to day that are going to allow you to manifest what it is that you need in your life. Maybe we're not focusing on manifesting like Ferraris and $1 million in 2 days type things, but we're focused on really like manifesting stability and security and loving relationships like in our lives. And we can get to the millions and stuff later because that's coming. I believe that we all have the ability to tap into an abundance of wealth, an abundance of success. And that's what I'm going to be sharing here with you. So again, thank you so much for listening. I'm Giovanna, the spiritual love healer, host of the Abundantly Ever After show. I am a spiritual healer, a tarot reader, and an energy coach here to help you heal, grow, and live abundantly ever after pain and trauma. Peace.